Good afternoon. This is Minister Paul. Excuse me. It's 12:20 p.m. on 12/21/2012. So that's Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to run through this briefly, and then this is going to be a temporary video because I posted a video last night that drew a lot of attention, more than I actually thought it would. I cannot rush this answer. I need to pray. And there's just a lot of reasons. Look at, is it actually 12:21 and 12:21? This is just kind of, this is how my life goes. So I'm amazed at that. I've been sitting here staring at all these questions and comments and scriptures for 2 hours now, and then I hit start and it's 12:21. I'm amazed by that. So what you're looking at here is Alicia Intermediate School in Linda, California. Does everybody see that? About 10 minutes. What's wrong with my throat? About 10 minutes from my house. Alicia Intermediate, I believe, is a very large school district in Northern California. I believe they have 8 to 10 schools. I'm not sure on the exact count. But I just noticed on this Google Earth, this has been updated. See, this is a arson. This was the art class, and see how there's no roof? You see these beams? These are 2-ton steel beams. This fire got so hot it melted these beams and it became unsafe. Right here is Olivehurst Little League. There's a road. This is actually 43 acres right here. It's owned by the school district, which is state, but the property's county. And the money is federal, so it is a very complicated site to run. You have county property being run by a state education system that's funded by the federal government. That's just kind of how I owned a private security company, and we did a lot of like we protected levees. It was the same thing. The levee, driving up to the levee, was county property, but when you were on the levee, it was state property. And then the money came to repair it was for federal funds. So here's me, and here's my website, and it's been taken down. And I make it very clear that after operating at a loss for several years, I pursued my calling in the ministry of the gospel of Jesus Christ. This has till the 31st. I paid a year for this, for the world to see that I meant what I said, and I said what I meant when I accepted the call. This prophetic call, a mantle upon my life. So that school, I got a call here at my home that they'd had an arson. They needed an armed guard on site there immediately, basically to keep, the media was everywhere, to run them off and to secure the school. And that's my specialty, aside from active shooter and plainclothes stuff, is access control. So they called us, and we're not the only security company in town either. They called us because we've just 3 of their other schools. So as you can see, the fire broke out at roughly about 3 a.m. and it spread so large that there's multiple sources on this. So try to look at the links up here. It was in our local paper. Fox 40 ran it. They have 9. They have just 9 middle schools. Okay, this looks like it. This is the day I got called, so see what they say. It's our local paper. There's a look at, see, I ran this site for like a year and a half. There's a good picture of kind of the damage. And then, so I only have 15 minutes on this screen medic. I just want to get something up. They called it suspicious. And although me and I had 4 great guys with me that covered this site. One was a U.S. Marine Corps, just had got back from Operation Enduring Freedom, and a personal friend of mine here local. The second guy was active duty law enforcement that only wanted to work 1 day a week, and he worked Sundays, and it was nice for him to be there. It gave us more uh, credibility, and because there was a lot of gang activity there. Myself and another person was actually a Sutter sheriff for Sutter County. So this place was very well covered with highly trained people. But what we ran into was more than just a gang element, it was a supernatural element. We were told, let's go to the map. For example, if you just go a little bit south here, you're going to find that you're at the airport, and the airport is county here. Everybody see that UB County Airport? And it kind of butted up right here to the property line, and this was private, so they wanted to buy this for expansion, and it was just and this little league park the school owned, and they just let whoever use it they wanted to use it. So what we first thing we did was we put an access perimeter gate really tall and locked that only we had keys to all the way around here because there was no power at the school. So in this area right here was just full of demons. It was called the PE room. It had no power. This entire area had no power. We called this the kill zone right here. This is the library. There was also a fire that broke out here in the library. So if you were working at night, for example, part of your job would be to clear this area because there was multiple homicides here on Alicia Avenue, and then down here, the whole area is just had Hmong gangs, white power gangs, and the Latin King gangs. So what I did was, it got too dangerous for one person to work. I paid a second guy. On day and swing, we put what's called a prop car. I put a highly marked Crown Vic right here on the parking lot with a dummy in it. So as people drove by, it looked like we had a second officer. We'd have a guard, armed guard here, law enforcement, and then we would park right here. So, and then at night we would back up and we would park here. So this is a very large area because from here you could see this gate that they would jump and run in and jump in the trees, and then you could see this gate. We have Norteños and Sureños and Latin Kings come from here to just graffiti the whole school. They could come in from over here. See this very, very dangerous area. They could jump this little league thing, have cover all the way over into here. Is one of the most dangerous sites I've ever worked. From July 9th, 2010 till towards the end of 2011. One night, I'm just trying to rush through this. One night I got down on my knees right here. Nobody could see me. It's pitch dark because it just became too evil. Walking through the kill zone, there was pentagrams painted all along these walls. There was lightning bolts, other satanic symbols I'm very, very familiar with. We would go in here and things would literally fly off the walls. We had a policy here that I put forth that nobody entered this room or this room alone ever at any time because things would fall from the roof. We would hear same thing over here. We would take a foot patrol, me and like say Gene, he was law enforcement. We would take a foot patrol over here and we'd go in this classroom right here. And apparently a kid had died in there or something. We'd literally hear kids talking, we'd hear screaming, and they had us looking for some tombstone, walking this whole area. It was just very occultic. So I'd get on prayer lines at 2:30 in the morning in New Jersey and at 3:30 in the morning in Atlanta. One day I was praying right here because there was also these white owls. That's why I need some time. If you would please give me some time, I ain't going to be able to do this today. I took video of this entire school. These white owls began to appear in these trees, 4 of them. I don't know if you've ever seen a white owl, but when you have 4 of them in their claws, and they would literally come and attack you if you walked or if you drove in the vehicle, they'd attack the window of your vehicle. It was very dangerous. When we would walk around this area, we would hear voices in these trees. But we can never ever, here's the thing, we would hear voices and screaming, but we can never locate a person. We on New Year's Eve we even brought 4 officers out here. That's why I took a loss on this site. Was we brought 4 officers out here, and we're only getting paid for one. And by the way, it was mandatory no reports at this site. They didn't want anything in writing, which I found odd. Matter of fact, these people are no longer my client, and I chose to go out of business. That's how serious this is. We had evidence of the arson, whiskey bottle left behind, a name. We had a witness we'd interviewed over here who saw it. Arson, local law enforcement, the school district, even Linda Fire Department wanted nothing to do with our evidence. They never even came out and picked it up. It was still in the trunk of my Crown Vic a year and a half later when I left. So one time we were patrolling around here, and I had my canine because I would work the night shifts out here just to be, if anybody got hurt, I wanted it to be me. That's just the truth. So, and plus I had a dog. So I would walk my dog through here, and one time I heard fighting and yelling, and you'd hear gunshots, and I cleared this room with my firearm and my canine, and something occurred in here. I saw an evil demon, and I'm not the only one that saw demons out here, actual demons, that my dog backed out, and we backed out with our gun drawn. We backed out of this room. I called my friend. He lived down the road. He worked for me also. His father worked at Beale Air Force Base. We went in here together and did what's called clearing a room. One to the left and one to the right with my canine. My dog refused to enter this room. Explain that. It was a demonic presence. So I will show you how close this is in relation to Beale, and how this has to do with what I'm seeing in the sky relating to Isaiah 14 and Revelation 12. It's only 5 minutes away. There's Beale. Does everybody see that? There's Beale. And let's go back to Alicia. Now, we didn't have a problem with the gangs. We would confront them, tell them it was private property, no trespassing. Sometimes we'd have to pull our weapons and stuff depending on the situation and the time of day, because it was total pitch darkness. No electricity anywhere. And there was a gas line that was running underneath it. They said could blow up. It was just really an unsafe site, and I should have charged them much more. I should have demanded 2 guards, but hindsight is 2020. They wouldn't have paid it more anyway, and that's why they're no longer my client. In the kill zone one time, my partner and I confronted some Latin kings. They were spraying a 5-point crown. Let me show you what that looks like. If you go to images, see that it was this could be it. That's why I want to show you. There's 5 points to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very ruthless gang out of Chicago, and they also are big in New York. But what we couldn't understand is what they were doing out here in Linda. Well, you know what they were doing was gang members were living in this school, but they were performing occultic rituals, and we saw signs of that. Like they were putting voodoo on us. To be honest with you, in the PG&E room, I hope I don't run out of time. In the PG&E room, we found a box. That's not PG&E, the PE room, the physical education room right here. Had no power. People would somehow get on the roof, and we can never figure out how they got on the roof. You'd have to be there to understand. But we found a box with some of our stuff in it that they found, and like an egg and some wings and some burnt items, and it was voodoo. And over here was their Latin king symbols, and it was just a deadly area. I mean, I even wrote, I wrote a poem when I was sitting out here one night called "If I Die Tonight." I probably pulled my gun out here at least once a night, every night, but I started to realize that some of the stuff I was dealing with was not natural. It was supernatural. So what they did was they demolished the whole site. I'll show you. That's the arson. This is the demo. The school's gone.